Aha. I was wondering why that didn't work. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brian McLogan, and this is Open Live Q&A, week number 100. I was wondering, because I remember last week I started off my live stream by being muted, and I can see right now, let me just double check my audio to make sure, so therefore I'm not like spending my time. Uh-oh, where did I miss that? Oh, there we go. There you go. I can see I'm coming in this time. Awesome. Last week I hit it and I was wondering, I'm like, why was that not going back on? And I guess I had to double hit it or whatever else. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me tonight. What I want to talk about is one thing to kind of memorize formulas. And I kind of have a little love-hate relationship with that. And so I'll kind of talk about that a little bit, the reason why. But I know some of you, it's just the reality that we kind of see ourselves in. So therefore, if you need some tips of how to memorize, I've definitely had to memorize for math classes before. And I also, I know there's times when actually having a kind of a set of, math formulas with you as you're going into a test is going to be very, very helpful. So we should have audio. Everything sounds great. Well, thank you very much. I'm double checking. Everything's sounding good, at least on my side. So hopefully that's all right. Thank you so much, Warner. Can I do? Yes. If you just go to So I do have some questions, guys. If this is your first live stream, just to go ahead and add in that I basically like to kind of talk on the topic that we have going on with like memorizing formulas. And I'll probably do that and check in with you guys in on the chat for probably the first 15, 20 minutes. And then we'll get into some math formula or some math problems that you guys have submitted. If you have not submitted a math problem, you can post it in the chat. But more likely than not, I will only going to be able to get to problems that get submitted. So therefore, it's a little bit more organized and I can review them. And all you need to do is go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. And I believe I did this correctly. Let's see if I got this. No, I didn't. There you go. So you can definitely go ahead and go to that link. And that is where you guys can submit your questions. Also, just to remind you guys, if you need more help, then in addition, or I don't get to your problem tonight, then you can also go to the Discord server where you guys can kind of go ahead and post questions on my Discord and kind of get your answers question there. So there's people that are, basically labeled as tutors, kind of there to help. Obviously, I try to jump in as anytime that I have available to go ahead and answer some questions. But basically, it's a student-run community to help other students with their math. So if you haven't checked out Discord, I'd highly recommend going check. We have everything from Algebra 1 or all the way up to higher level mathematics into, Calc 2 and, really and kind of anything that you have questions on that you can kind of post in there. I also want to remind you guys, because I did have a calculus live stream or pre-calculus live stream last week, and I'm doing my Algebra 2 live stream this week. So I changed the time up to 5 o'clock. So if you guys do have any questions and you're taking Algebra 2 and you'd like to join, I did limit the seats though to 30 people. So please don't sign up unless you do plan on showing up. But it is not like a live stream like this. It's kind of more of a little bit more intimate because you can obviously ask questions and, don't feel like you're interrupting me or anything like that. It's just kind of like whatever questions you guys have. We just kind of focus in on Algebra 2. So definitely go and check that out as well. And then the last thing I wanted to mention to you guys is, again, I'm doing my giveaway. So for those of you that were on my stream last week, I was not able to give away a free tutoring assignment for you guys. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do is, if in the description, I did my last 2 live streams. If you guys just go want to put a comment in those 2 live streams, you can go ahead and type in #mathhelp, and then you can win. If you would like to go ahead and join me for a live tutoring session, then you can just go there and yeah. So we'll have a little fun. We'll do 2 of them this week because last week we were unable to do that. So don't do it in the chat though. Make sure you go into the last 2 live streams. I did put the links in the description. And Brandon Looney Tunes, what's up, Doc? Well, hello, Christy. Good to have you on. And Chris, I think I did your one question. I think I saw for you. So I'll get to that. Why do you think humans have the capacity to do math? Well, it's very interesting, right? Like math is like kind of this understanding of the world or understanding why things kind of work and how they have the relationships between them. So it's, kind of think of that, what's that age old question? Like, was it, was it invented or whatever else, but it's like, it's kind of like this mix, you know, it's like we use math to understand the world around us. Equations with two fractions, people are telling me different ways, and some work and some problems don't. So if you want to go ahead and post that in the on the link, then I'll be more than happy to go ahead and check it out. Okay, so what is 2 radical 16 the same as 16 to the power of 1 over 2? I don't know. If you go ahead and post in the, like I said, guys, all the questions, at least on the math, I will be able to take my time in from there. But I want to go ahead and get started with you guys, kind of talking about some ways to memorize questions. And actually someone, discovered or invented. Thank you very much. Thank you, Diamond. Was it discovered or invented? Yes. And obviously it's kind of like the nurture versus nature debate, right? And it's kind of the same thing. And really, you could probably say it's going to be, the right answer is really a mix of both. I was wondering, you know what? I think that's why I didn't have my zoomed in. I wonder if my focus was off. Does that mess me up on my focus? That's all right. Whatever. I was wondering why my zoom was off. I was like, oh, that kind of seems weird. All right, so that is all dependent on what formula. So I'm going to talk about general formulas. It could be for any class. It could be for physics, non-physics. It could be for any really class. So let's go and talk about some ways that you guys can memorize formulas. And again, I kind of put a disclaimer on my, on the, on my email for today that, hey, I did not have my students, even my geometry, algebra 2, pre-calculus, I do not make them memorize any formulas. If there's anything that they need to know as far as like a typical formula, then that is provided to them. They either have a cheat sheet or I'll write it on the board. But one of the things that they will always have access to that. And that's just something that I kind of believed as an educator. I didn't always used to do that, but that's something I kind of found to be beneficial, and it didn't really impact students' learning. Because I never thought it was really fair for a student to get marked down or to say like you technically don't understand something just because because they didn't memorize a formula correctly. And then also one of my big things that I wanted with students was, I don't want them to focus on, one of the last things I'll talk about is like, I don't want them to spend their time at night rather than studying for a test is trying to memorize formulas. I just don't think that's a good use of their time. But one of the first reasons, or one of the best ways that you guys can absolutely study for math or memorize the formulas is literally as simple and as boring of just using the formulas, just practicing them. And over and over and over. And one of the examples I give is, I talk about is, when I was teaching, I remember a lot of times I'd forget I'd forget formulas. Unless you're using them every day, you're not going to remember a lot of the formulas. They're not going to always come back to you exactly what they are, right? But however, when I was teaching and I would do, the examples like multiple times a day, they would come right back to me, right? And I would know exactly what they were and I could just spit them off. And sometimes they could be, some pretty elaborate or multiple formulas all at one time. And my point that I wanted to bring to my students is, if you're just doing one example in your homework, right, that has like, let's say you only apply the formula once or twice, or you just took the notes and you didn't actually practice it. Well, you're not going to memorize the formula. You're not going to remember it. So the more examples, the more practice you can do. Like that's my whole goal with all my students is I want them to have practice so much that they don't need to memorize the formulas. They basically have those formulas ingrained in them because they have been practicing with them. And that's kind of like that practice makes perfect, right? If you continuously practicing using the formulas, it's going to be pretty easy to have those formulas memorized. You're not going to have to work. You're not going to have to think about it. You've already put that into action. And so therefore, when your test comes up, it's just kind of like you're already ready and doing that. It's not something like, oh crap, how do I memorize? What was that formula again? You've already done it. You've already practiced it and everything else. So that's number one is put in the work, put in the practice and using the formulas, applying them. It's going to be very easy. You're not even gonna have to think about like memorizing things. Number two, though, is I know not especially when you have a course like physics or, upper level mathematics, you might have like a lot of formulas. Sometimes it can be kind of hectic and a lot. So I would always recommend using a cheat sheet. Now, the cheat sheet is something that I allowed my students to use on the test. And basically I would tell them, write down all the formulas, write down the definitions, write down all the, major examples that you could use. And the one thing I found was even though students had this access with them when they took the test, they won a lot. They didn't really do it. Like if you would have this cheat sheet and you could tell a student would spend like 2 hours using this cheat sheet. Like, I mean, amazing, like has everything on the form, everything on there. Right. But again, you'd see them like take the test and they wouldn't have to like reference it as much. Like it wasn't something that was saving them as far as on their grade. Yeah, maybe that, it was probably more of like a confidence booster. Like, oh yes, I just have these next to me. But when you put in that time of writing down all those formulas, organizing everything on a one sheet of paper, that really does help you, not only your brain organize the information, but it also helps you recall all that information when it's time for you to, take the test. And even if your teacher doesn't allow you to, use the cheat sheet, which I can totally understand. I didn't do it for many, many years. Just the process of creating that cheat sheet is very, very helpful. And what was I thinking off from there? And it's something that you can not only like, again, when you think about like a math book and you take like a whole chapter, there's formulas everywhere. Like you're flipping through pages, trying to find all these formulas, definitions. So the nice thing about the cheat sheet is when it comes time for a test or quiz, you just have everything that you need to like know, like those major like mathematical stuff is all on one sheet of paper. So you can just study and review that, right? That's something you should be doing every single day. It's not something you should be flipping through all these pages, trying to find, oh, where is that formula and everything else? Like you're looking at this sheet every single day. You know exactly where that formula is. You have that kind of like visually memorized in your brain. And I think using the cheat sheet it's been very, very powerful. That was something I did as a student. And I know also can be very helpful for you guys as well. The next one I wanted to kind of elaborate for you guys is kind of what was it? It was kind of like what I have for in there. It's making, I was trying to think of the name. Like obviously it's making the deriving and making sure you can derive the equations rather than just like always memorizing one. So the next one is association. That's what I was going to get to. So the memorizing or making sure you can derive the equations. Now, this one's very helpful. This one's very helpful, but I don't think it's going to be helpful for everybody because it does take a little bit of extra knowledge to kind of understand what's going on in your class and to be able to kind of derive your formulas from something, right? You got to kind of have like a good understanding of where the formulas come from and how you can create them. But I do remember when I was in college, I remember I was in a physics class and I was struggling with the physics class, all the formulas, especially physics, in my opinion, like way more than in math. And I was just struggling. I remember I couldn't remember everything. And I remember my buddy who was in the class and he was just like, when I kind of asked him, looked at like, how are you remembering all these? And he said, oh, I don't remember any of them. I just derived the equations. Like, hey, I know how to create these formulas and, these relationships based on the information. And he's like, I just recreate the formulas as I need them. And it was really powerful. Like one, I was kind of still connecting the dots. So I couldn't connect the dots as well as he did, like as far as understanding the formulas. It took me a little while before I like after the test, I was able to like, oh, now I see what he was doing. Like at that time, it didn't really make sense to me, so it wasn't a good tip for me. But for him, it was like, it worked really well. And a lot of times, even when we were doing math class, like I would tell students, like, rather than trying to memorize, like for instance, one thing comes to mind is, rather than memorizing like the Pythagorean identities, you can just remember the Pythagorean theorem. And if you know the Pythagorean theorem, as well as knowing in addition to the Pythagorean theorem, as well as knowing like the, unit circle or the relationships with sine and cosine on the unit circle, then you can basically derive all the Pythagorean identities from there. Like you don't need to, and you can do it quickly. That's a time saver. You don't need to worry about like, trying to memorize these the night before a test. Like that's something you can quickly derive. And it's true, like for a lot of things, you don't need to, if you understand where they came from and how to quickly create them, that kind of saves your brain a little space, right? Because when you think about a test, you don't know always what's going to be on the test. So if you're trying to study and memorize everything that could possibly show up on the test, you're like taking up some power, some very important brain power, because you want to make sure that you can study like the most efficiently as possible and keep the stuff that you absolutely know that's going to be on the test. That's the stuff that you want to make sure that you are spending that time on. And then the last one that I want to kind of get to is the association and like flashcards. And I remember when I was in high school using flashcards. I remember when people used to tell me like how to, remember people's names, like use association or, we do like songs, right? Remember like the quadratic formula song, and like, I don't like them. I I never sang it in my class or all those little things, but they work. And they're little gimmicks. They help. I don't like flashcards. I would see students in my class, they're taking like AP government and they'd have like a stack of like this big, and like or like in chemistry and biology, like I hated biology. And one of the reasons why I hated biology was just like I couldn't remember all the terms. And I hated like flashcards and doing all this stuff, but it works. I mean, it does work. And it's, if you're looking for a short-term gain, it's a great idea. It's a great idea to use those kind of, songs to remember things, or, make some associations to kind of like connect things with, the math formula, so you can connect it with either something that's going on in class or with your book, whatever may be the case. But they're helpful. The only problem I have with these is a lot of times when you're taking your test, that's not your normal study time. Right. And so sometimes you're going to have stress. Sometimes you're going to get kind of, thrown off. And if you haven't really spent a lot of time in those, like your memory is not really ingrained on those, formulas or the song or whatever, flashcards, then you risk not being able to recall that information on a test. And that's not really where you want to be. That's where I kind of listed, doing the math problems over and over with the formulas. That's going to be pretty well ingrained. Using a cheat sheet every single day and reviewing it, that's going to be pretty well ingrained. But if you're just like using flashcards the night before and then like hoping you're going to recall it, maybe or maybe not, right? And again, some people are better at that than others. I guess maybe from personal experience was not really that great, and I would quickly forget the information. And I remember sometimes too, I'd like be sitting at a test and like, I totally forgot. I remember doing a flashcard on this, but I totally forgot, right? And the other reason I don't like it is it takes a lot of time, right? If you're doing this flashcards, you spend all the time, like I want you to be studying the math, knowing how to do the math. I don't want you to be spending the time doing flashcards to remember a formula or a definition or a theorem or blah, blah, blah. That's why I gave my students the cheat sheets. But I know not everybody has me as a teacher to give them the cheat sheet. So you got to do it your best. And if doing flashcards can help you out, then by all means, do some flashcards, right? You still got to be your best advocate, whatever works for you. And maybe you guys have something else. Maybe you guys have some other suggestions. I'd love to hear them down in the comments, because, this is what's worked for me as a student as well as from a teacher, but I'm just one person, right? So there's definitely a lot of great advice or some other techniques that I'm sure you guys can add and love to see them. Whew. All right. And then we'll probably just, also, just a reminder, guys, if you have not submitted a math question, you like to be able to get to a math question, a couple things here. So again, all questions you guys can, not the Discord yet. Let me move that up. There you go. So if you guys do have a question, you guys can go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. I'll try to get to them. I already have some math questions that have already been submitted for tonight, but you guys can definitely still feel free to go ahead and submit those. If I'm not able to get to your question, or if you just have some other questions that you'd like to go ahead and address, then you can definitely go ahead and check out the Discord server, which I saw Mo, you jumped on. Well, happy to have you on. And Mo is the architect of working on that Discord server. So definitely awesome for you guys to go ahead and check that out. Get questions answered, help communicate with other students that are kind of going through the same things. Ask questions, could be math related, or it could just be about life that you have going on with regard to math. And then also, guys, just a reminder that we are doing I am doing your Algebra 2 live stream coming in this week. So if you are interested in that, it's just for Algebra 2 students, kind of like this. You can pre-submit your questions and I'll answer them. And we'll just kind of, go from there. And it's kind of a little bit more of an intimate environment. Not so much you guys can definitely like unmute your microphone and talk away from there. So definitely something cool, but definitely going to want to register if that is something you're interested in. And then just a reminder, guys, also I'm doing my, we are doing the, the tutoring giveaway. So, remember last week, last week and the week before, those two live streams, if you just want to type in #mathhelp in the comments of those live streams, I put the links in the description, or you can just go to my channel and find them. And then you guys can definitely go ahead and win some free tutoring if that's something you're interested in. All right. I need to go back and do some calculus. This just reminds me. So, sorry, Angel, it's been a while since I've gone through my like instruction on calculus. So that's why a lot of times I don't cover the calculus. But one of the goals that I've wanted to do is spend a lot more time working on calculus. So hopefully I'll be able to get to that. But I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to get to it tonight. I just want to kind of round out my kind of explanation kind of techniques. It's been a while. It's been a couple years since I taught it. What are your thoughts on CPM? 11th grade daughter is having a hard time. I find it difficult too. Yes, I actually taught out of the CPM curriculum when I first moved to Florida. And I think I agree a lot with like the premise of the curriculum, like the idea kind of behind it. But it's kind of one of those things. It's like I don't like when if you struggle with like the understanding of the curriculum, or if you need more like practice and, help with it. I think it just kind of, it's kind of more of like a broad like curriculum. And it doesn't address, I think, a lot of fundamental issues that students have with learning the mathematics or the math that's within all the curriculum of the CPM booklets. And so therefore I found myself as a teacher, adding in a lot of content, supplementing a lot of content to really kind of help students. And I didn't really like the kind of the pacing, the guiding from it, how it kind of moved along. I think it was very confusing for students, the kind of the pathway. Now, again, I never had training in like the CPM curriculum, and I don't think there was a lot of training that other teachers were given. And I mean, this was my first 2 years of teaching math, right? So, that might be a little bit different now that I've, had some a little bit more experience, but all I can say it was a struggle starting as a teacher from there. And I just remember doing a lot of supplementing and a lot of teachers doing a lot of supplementing as well, just because it was, they would just not enough content, I think, was in there as far as the pacing, stuff like that. So is that what you can work on? Yes, I can. Sure. Can do a college algebra question as well. Is the remainder theorem considered algebra 2? I think I used the remainder theorem in algebra 2. And then also we did it in, a lot in pre-calculus. So, I mean, you can do from on there. I mean, it's that type of question from on there. Yes, I do sometimes answer questions like generic ones, but as far as anything like math heavy, I just ask you guys go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. So therefore it's a little bit easier for me to like review the questions and go from there. So I always ask students to kind of like pre-submit the questions. Therefore it just gives me a little time to keep everything organized. As you guys can see, well, let me show you what I have here. Why is it not going? Come on. That's annoying. There you go. Oh. Uh-oh. You guys lost me. Okay. Hold on. That's not supposed to happen. I'm still here, but hold on. Come on. What the heck? There you go. All right. Sorry, guys. I was playing with some things and obviously that did not work out. So I apologize for that. But anyways, I'll show you my screen in a second. Let's see. I guess I can go from here, right? Yeah, there you go. So yeah, you can see like all these questions. These are where I take them from on there. So just a little FYI. But let's go back to the main screen. Can you explain what is composition of functions? So composition of functions is basically just plugging one function into another. That's really kind of what it is. You're just plugging one function into another. I need your advice. Basically, I don't have an assignment and it is due tomorrow. What should I do? Well, I'm not going to be able to help you out with your assignment, but if you have questions to understand your assignment, I would highly recommend that you just go ahead and get to go to Discord and see if you guys can post your questions in there and see if anybody's in that server that can help. It's all students that either are able to help or there are math classes above you that can help you out, or students that are in the similar classes. So I would definitely go ahead and join the Discord and hopefully can help you out with whatever questions you have to get that assignment done. How much going on? Who's the one that made the TikTok? CJ, well, maybe DM me on TikTok of which one you're referring to, because there's been a couple, so I don't know which. I mean, obviously there's so I'm not which ones, but I'm glad to have you on, and thank you for making a TikTok with me. I greatly appreciate that. But yeah, feel free to DM me on. I guess you have to be my friend. I guess I have to follow you first or whatever. But either way, you can hit me up on Discord and with your channel. That'd be cool. Yep, domain is a set of all x values. So that's basically how far left and right the graph goes without any discontinuities. And the range is going to be basically how far up and down that the graph goes without any breaks or holes in the graph. So that's a kind of a short definition. Obviously, we can get into the equation, which I'm not sure if you're referring to. Yeah, so from equations. So basically, you want to find the domain. It's there's a couple different things, but if you have a specific question, feel free to submit it onto brianmclogan.com/Q&A, and I'll be able to help you out from there. Well, awesome. Good job, Denver. So just remember, open is not contained and closed is contained. That means it's a part of the function, or it's included. So included or not included. Included would be a closed or a bracket, and open would be an open circle or parentheses. Well, awesome. You're very welcome, Mish. I'm taking pre-calc after failing it. I'm taking pre-calc in college. Hey, just like me. Any advice? Yeah, put in the work. Yeah, put in the work. It's, I think one thing, I mean, I got a D. I didn't fail in pre-calcs, but I got D, plenty of them. And then I got an A in college. And so one thing I would definitely say is, like, if you start to struggle, you start to forget things again, like, get help. Like, the good thing about college is, like, the tutor labs and, like, all the abundance of, like, help you have available to you. Take advantage of that. That's what I was in the tutor lab every single day. Even if I didn't have questions, that's where I did my homework. And if I had something, or I wanted a tutor to elaborate on it, I was there. Right. So I took advantage of the help when I was in college. In high school, I didn't. I just was being a high school student. So, you can definitely do it. Don't worry about, failing it or doing poorly in high school. Just say, like, all right, here's my time to redeem myself. Right. And you got it. And hey, Ralph, good to have you on. I did see your question. I will get to it. All right. Thank you. CPM is, that's weird. So I guess they must have, student text. So they have new text. That's interesting. I mean, I'm assuming they do. I mean, it's 14 years ago since I taught it. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, it can definitely be. Why is math so hard? Yeah. It's, I think the one thing with math being hard is, like, students believe that it's like, one thing is, like, I haven't done a lot of, like, research on this, but it's, well, obviously I'm not a researcher either, but, one thing I found is, like, your brain, like, we have maturity, but a lot of, like, comes, like, with your brain maturity. And I think one of the issues that we have is, like, we all treat people, we know that, like, the maturity in people's different brains is, like, sorry about that. Should be back on, hopefully. Come on. Oh, does it still say I'm live? Well, that's kind of weird. All right. So it said my internet went out, but I guess you guys can hear me. I'll go ahead and sign into my YouTube studio, but I'm not sure. And Rosalie, I'm not really sure what you mean by proving, like, doing proofs. Is that what you're referring to? I'm not really sure. If you want to elaborate on that, that'd be helpful from there. Hey, I guess I'm still live, so cool. YouTube's not receiving smooth streaming. Oh, sorry about that. Come on. Hopefully get that up. That's so weird. All right, cool. It says I have excellent connection. That's so weird. I have an outlet and then you guys go up from there. Whatever. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, vector word problems or just anything with vectors, I think is like, creating the picture. I mean, sometimes I know it's difficult from the word problems, but I think creating those pictures it can be helpful. And did it go out? Did the stream go out at all? That's so weird. I literally got kicked off on my end. And so I don't know if you had that. This is an easy one. I would definitely recommend that you not memorize things and make sure you understand it. I mean, it really depends on what, like is pre-calc the end of road view, or are you plan on like not taking another math class like ever again? Well, then, and you're taking like some really difficult classes where you're really busy, and not able to put in 100% of the time and effort into the class. Well, you got to weigh the cost and benefit, the cost and the benefits of, that. If you're planning on going into a field where you're going to use, some math background or, especially expand on your math background, then yeah, you better make sure you know what you're doing, and not just relying on memorizing things, because it's going to come back and bite you. So knowing algebra on trig is very, very useful. Yep, absolutely. Anxiety for math tests. That's a good one. I mean, there's a lot of things I would say, as far as math anxiety. I mean, one thing I would just, come on. But, the one thing I would say is like, I think this came in like my last video or last week's video. Like there's no grade or teacher or class or test or quiz that's ever going to define who you are, what you're capable of. And I know that can like very easy just to say, oh, just let anxiety is not a big deal. Like just think about that. But it's true. And I think the more that you really kind of let that set in and just realize that, that you got to prepare yourself the best you can and then do the best you absolutely can. And that's about all you can do. And from there, you're just going to move on. And, I've taken classes before, like I had to retake classes, you retake tests, retake quizzes. I've had to do it all before, and you're going to survive and it's going to be okay. And sometimes it's not fun. Sometimes it is very difficult, but you're going to be okay. You're going to be able to overcome those challenges from on there. So that's, I don't have any great tips besides that, besides like some positive thinking and putting things into action, right? And getting to work. How do I study for midterms? Well, you'd start doing as many practice problems as possible, create a cheat sheet, and then create a cheat sheet and then start reviewing, right? And getting going there. Or reviewing the cheat sheet and then reviewing the problems you did. I'm doing well in my Algebra 2 class with tests and everything, but I'm not doing well in exams. Any tips? Yeah, I mean, kind of the same thing, guys. I mean, if you're doing well on the class and everything, but you're struggling on like the exams and stuff, it's like put in some things are not sticking. So maybe you might want to, maybe the exam problem questions are maybe a little bit more difficult. So maybe you should start doing like more difficult problems to prepare for your exam. Do the problems at the back of the book, maybe do some more examples. I think you should be doing this every single day. So therefore, rather than waiting and maybe studying at the night before the test, you should just be relaxing. You should just maybe reviewing your cheat sheet and that's it, right? You should be doing all of this work, all of those practice problems, all that cheat sheet reviewing, all that should be done like weeks leading up to your test and your quizzes and your exams, right? The night before the quiz should just be like that math and that anti-math anxiety, just like relaxing, thinking, breathing, meditating, getting a good night's rest, getting some, a good meal, maybe just doing a quick little review, right? And that's easier said than done when exam season comes, right? You have multiple tests and everything like that. But it plays into the fact of like the more prepared you are, the better you're going to do, right? And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, I studied, and I still failed." And like, yeah, I know it happens, right? But that doesn't discount what I'm talking about. There's going to be hard tests. There's going to be hard classes. There's going to be hard teachers, right? But be the best prepared that you possibly can be. And that's going to put yourself in the best position, to be. And that's, I think, what you need to take away from that. I like algebra 1. I like trig. I'm doing overtaking college algebra next semester. I like algebra 1 trig. No, well, that should be good. then you should be fine with college algebra. I have a problem focusing in class. Me too, especially in math. I wish I could do something to stop my brain from wandering. So interesting. I don't have it really. I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, I'm the same way. When I was in math class, so one of the reasons I have like so many of these white pads, and actually like I literally have like a ton of white pads in my house. And one of the reasons is like, even in math class, I would just doodle. Like I have to kind of constantly be doing something, and I'd write down my notes, but then I also doodle and stuff. Like I'd let my brain drift. And I think it's just something you got to manage. It's like, I mean, your brain's naturally wanting to, kind of go someplace. So you got to keep it directed, but also I think you also have to kind of feed it a little bit for what it wants. Right. And that's you, so just kind of realize your strengths and that weakness and kind of go from there. Oh, I'm getting a little late. All right. Oh no, there you go. All right. I'm taking geometry and talking to some kids who are taking algebra, and I realize I forgot a lot of it. Any idea what you do? Yeah, just go back and just start reviewing some of the stuff. Ask your teacher maybe for some help or stuff that, you should focus on. But yeah, I mean, just, the thing is just going back and trying to practice, review some of that stuff. I definitely had to work on it. Hugely had to work on it. Not naturally math-minded at all. I will say I had a unique kind of like understanding. Like I like math in that regard, which a lot of people don't, I think, naturally like it from that. But yeah, not naturally math gifted by any means. Definitely had to work really hard. How do you keep looking youth young? I'll say it's my camera lens. I'll take that. Thank you. Should I skip geometry? Is it useful, or should I take it over the summer? I mean, it depends on all what you're trying to do, but I think geometry is can be very useful, and it gives you that spatial kind of sense. Obviously, if you're just looking into like a math stepping stone, like geometry can be taken as like a separate course. It's not necessary from like an algebra 1, algebra 2, calculus perspective, but I think it is a good course that kind of gives you a broader spectrum of mathematics and the applications of it and how it can be used. And especially obviously if you expand into more mathematics, the background, or at least the exposure of those, what you'll learn in geometry will be useful. Right. Well, then think about how you're studying. I think that's maybe one thing of I don't think studying is the problem. I think how you're studying or what you're doing to study might be the issue. And yeah, definitely reasoning skills from there. But I mean, you can get a lot of reasoning skills also for discrete mathematics, as well. So I think it just depends on how the reasoning is taught and how you take advantage of it. To as many examples as possible. So if I was taking AP, SAT, ACT, I would just be practicing those problems over and over and over, as many examples as you possibly can do. I think it's better whenever your brain is. Like some people are morning people, some people are at night, right? So everybody's going to be a little bit different there. So I would just find a time that works. So, all right, guys, I'm going to get into the math portion. Now to say answer questions. Again, if you guys have some math questions inside the chat and you want to submit them to me, then feel free to go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. And what we will do, go to brianmclogan.com/Q&A. And that's where I'm taking the questions. I don't know how many more questions I'll be able to get to this week because I am doing a hard at 10 o'clock. I am going to do a giveaway for free tutoring. So if you were not here last week, or if you've not been on a live stream, I give away, why is this not doing? I'm giving away some free tutoring with myself, and it's for all students that want to go ahead and submit. Safely done. Yeah. So there is week 9 and, oh no, why did it do that to me? Let's see if I did that. There we go. Let's space it. See if that works. All right. That's annoying. Let me try this one more time. No. Huh. See if this works. But anyways, all you got to do is type in, no, it's not working. So either way, sorry, it's the last 2 live streams. But just go ahead and go to #mathhelp. Go ahead and type that in on the comments for the last 2 live streams. And then at 10 o'clock, we'll do our drawing. So that means I have 20 minutes to do some math problems. So let's get into it. where am I going? So I need to nope. Sorry. Thought I had everything out, but I guess I didn't move this over. So we're gonna, can you look at my question? I don't know, sorry. I got a lot of questions that actually came through. So I'm gonna do as many as I possibly can. And then we'll see. Do I have the, I don't even have the tab open. We'll see how many questions that have been asked. So I usually try to always leave the cache or get that done before I go live. And then whatever questions are answered during the chat, we'll try to, go from there. So just depends on how many questions come through on the chat, which I'm able to get to. And again, guys, just a reminder, if I'm not able to get to your question, which it's definitely possible that I'm not going to be able to, just remember, guys, if you have questions now that you'd like to, does this have a live chat? Oh, no, that's great. Wow, 2 dislikes. Thanks, guys. If I'm not able to get to your question, then feel free to go to Discord, get that checked out as well. All right. So now I got that done. Now let's get into the math. Got some math teaching. Still a math teacher. Okay. So weird. All right. So let's switch the camera. Come on, please. Thank you. All right. First question says, without technology, sketch the graph of the sine function for the values of x or x from negative 540 to 540. Okay. So what I'm going to do, let's see if I have here. There we go. All right. So the student was asked, I think, talking about like the unit circle here. So if here's like 0 degrees, right? And then you could say all the way around would be 360 degrees. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of go through like when we're looking at the, what was it? The sine graph? Yeah. So sine graph. I am just going to go in the positive direction for right now. I'll go in the positive direction and then we can continue this like in the negative, whatever. So let's go between 1 and -1. Okay. And this x-axis, what this is going to represent is going to be theta. All right. So the y coordinates or this y-axis is going to represent the y coordinate on the unit circle, and the theta is going to represent the angle. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use these very easy ones. So this one, which is what, 90 degrees, right? So at 90 degrees, this coordinate point is what, 0, 1. So at 9 degrees, we're going to go up to 1. And then over here, which is 180, this is at -1, 0. So if that's 90, then we have 180, and we're at what, 0. Then we can go all the way around to here, which is what, 270. This point is 0, -1. So say that's 270. That's going to be at -1. And then we go all the way around, which would be 360. And this coordinate point, you can see, is going to be at 1, 0. So at 360, see 360, that's going to be back at 0. Now, again, this says go all the way to 540. So if I just keep on adding, let's say, what are these? Adding 90 degrees, right? Different quadrants. So this one's going to be a 450, and this one's going to be a 540 right at the end. Okay, so the point that I want to make to you is let's just kind of follow this curve. So we're going to go there, go down here, go up there. And what the cool thing about the sine graph, these are called cyclical graphs. So what happens is, where is this going to go? That's going to go right up to there, and then that's going to go right down, right? So it follows the exact same path. And the reason why this is important is because if I go in this negative direction, because it said the graph to go to -540, well, again, all you're simply going to do is just follow the same pattern, right? You're going to go down to -1 and then go back up to 0. And then you go up to 1, down to 0, down to -1, and back up to 0. And that's what that graph's going to look like. So just kind of keep on following the pattern from there. Or, I mean, if you want to do negative directions, like -90 is -1, right? So if you look at -90, -90 degrees is going to be at a -1. And you can kind of see how that goes from there. Which is -1. Yes. Then 360. Yes. All right. My teacher doesn't teach us very well, and I found your videos to be somewhat helpful. I guess somewhat. I'll take it. I guess I'll zoom in for you guys, or I think I can. why that's not. Let's see if I can zoom in. There you go. So my somewhat mathematical helpful videos. We're talking about solving an equation. So the equation is 3x plus 2 square root of 3 equals 8. All right, so let's go and take a look here. So I have a 3 tan of x plus 2 square root of 3 equals an 8. Okay. Oh, equals 8 square root of 3 minus a 3 tangent of x. Okay, I didn't look at that. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'll add a 3 tan of x. So you want to get the tangent. Whenever you're solving an equation, you want to get them on the same side, right? So let's get the tangents to the same side. Let me guys know, I'm seeing this, like my screen is like blacking out on there. So on my live stream, is my live stream blacking out? Like give me a thumbs up if it is, or I'm not sure if you can, or let me know if it's not. So then I'll add a 3 tan of x here on the left-hand side. And therefore that's a 6 tangent of x equals a 2 square root of 3 equals what? 8 square root of 3? So 8 square root of 3. So that's a 8 square root of 3. What am I doing? That's a plus. Okay, and then I will minus a 2 square root of 3. It is? That's so weird. All right, I'll have to take a look into that. It's so weird why it's doing that. So 6 tan of x, apologize. I think last week it was doing that as well. So weird why it's like randomly doing that. And then divide by 6, it's not blacking out for me. Interesting. I'll let you guys know when the next one comes. Yeah, thank you about that, the 3 square root. So tangent of x equals a square root of 3. I still haven't upgraded the memory. I gotta determine when I'm gonna make, but I noticed my last video I made had like some lag, so I definitely got to go and increase my memory from there. All right, so now we have tangent of x. Well, thank you, Christy, so much for your super chat. Got a pre-calc exam on Tuesday. You got this. You got this. Best of luck. All right, so now we have tangent of x equals square root of 3. Now remember, the tangent, what's going on? So remember, the tangent of any angle, right, tangent of theta, is equal to the y coordinate over the x coordinate. So now I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the unit circle, and I'm going to say, all right, no, that's not what I wanted. There you go. There's the blackout right there. Does anybody get that blackout? That's so weird. It's Bandit in Discord, lol. Oh, well, hey, Bandit. Can I read it? Oh, Christy. Oh, you're Bandit. Yeah, see ya. So we have y over x, and so now we know when is that going to be square root of 3 over, when that's going to be square root of 3. So you should know like these main 3 points here, and I'm thinking it's going to be this one. There's another blackout that just happened, and that's going to be y over x. That's not going to do it, but this one, which is a 1/2 comma square root of 3 over 2. Yeah, blanks out. It's so weird. Okay. So therefore, a square root of 3 over 2 divided by and 1/2. And you guys can see that that's going to reduce down to square root of 3. So what is the angle that is producing that? Well, the angle that is producing that right there is going to be a 60 degrees. So we can say x, because not really theta, right? So x is equal to a 60 degrees. However, it's very important to recognize here that also it would work for this point down here, which would be at a negative 1/2 comma negative square root of 3 over 2. Right? Because a negative over a negative is still going to be a positive. So that would work as well, right? So therefore, that angle is going to be a x equals, well, let's see if this one is, if that's going to be 60 degrees, then this is going to be 60 degrees over 180, which would be a 240 degrees. So now the question though is like, what is it from negative infinity to infinity? Well, the cool thing about this is you can keep on, if you took 60 degrees and you added like 180 to it, that's going to take you to 240. And if you added 180 again, that would take you back to this, 420. And you could just keep on adding 180. So if I want to find infinite many solutions, what you first want to do is find the solutions on 0 to 2 pi. And then once you found those solutions on 0 to 360, then what you can do is just kind of find what is the relationship between them, because you can always add 360. And because if I took this angle and I keep on adding 360 to it, it's going to keep on giving me the same solution. But in this case, we don't need to add 360 to both solutions. All we simply need to do is take 60 degrees and then add 180 degrees. Now, how many times can we add 180 degrees? Well, infinite many times, right? So we use usually a letter like N or K to represent the answer. And that's what you're going to want to use from there. The next one is given so we have similar triangles, and we're talking about like the relationship between the perimeter, the area, and if you're doing volume. And the theorem you're going to want to work through is R squared, and R cubed. And actually, I remember this theorem from my CPM days, which actually, I think did a pretty good job, like kind of explaining this go for them. So when you are thinking about your perimeter, that's going to be like a one-dimensional direction. So therefore, whatever the similarity or whatever the ratio is between your two figures, you're going to have that same ratio. So let's just go ahead and think. So we can say 90 is to 60. Now, again, we could kind of reduce that, right? So we could say 9 over 6, which we could go ahead and reduce, is going to be the same thing as a 3/2, right? Divided 3 on the top and bottom, so 3/2. So that is going to be my R. All right. So that's going to be from the, so my ratio, actually, let's do 60 to 90. Let's go back the other way. That's 90 to 60. I don't want to go from there. Yes, because we're given these ratios. So we're actually going to want to go from 60 to 90 in this case. Because what I want to do is I want to find the ratio from here, or I want to find the ratio from the small to the big, because what I'm going to do is I want to find a smaller determinant here. So therefore, that's going to be done. I'll just do this as a 6 over 9, which is going to be a 2/3. Okay, so now all I'm simply going to do is, since I have the larger area here, I'm going to take my perimeter and I'm going to multiply by a 2/3. Okay, so what I have here is a 381 times a 2/3. And I have no idea what that is, but I have my calculator here, so I'll go and work with it. And that gives me a 254. Now, the important thing is, though, when you're looking at multiple dimensions, what's going to happen is the area is not going to be the same. So the area, what we're going to do is we're going to take our ratio and we're going to square it. So what that's going to be is my ratio, or my area, which is going to be 1,944. Oh, I'm sorry, this is meters. And then times, what I'm going to do is multiply by 4/9. Okay, so you got to make sure when you're dealing with area or two dimensions, that's going to be R squared. And if you're dealing with volume, then you'd actually take the ratio and cubic. So, or cubits. So you'd have 1,944 times a 4 divided by 9. And that's going to be 864 meters squared. You're very welcome, Jack. And no, I'm not. I will eventually be getting into the calculus, hopefully here rather soon. How do you know transformations, I don't know how to do transformations, reflections, dilation, clockwise, or counterclockwise. So the best thing I can relate to, or the best advice I can give you for those, would be just to pick a point. So when I teach this on geometry, what I like to do with my students is say, all right, why don't we just pick a point 3, 2. Okay, so let's say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, right? There's 3, 2. So transformation is just basically like adding something to both of them, right? So when we're doing a transformation, that's like 3, plus 1, right? And then like a 2 minus 5, whatever. That all you're doing is sliding, right? So you just think about that as that's all we're simply doing. We're taking this point and we're just sliding it across there. When you think about reflections, you're thinking about flipping. Okay, you're flipping about the x, you're flipping about the y, you're flipping about the origin. Now, it's important to kind of think about this. Like if I took this over here, like the height is still the same, but now where is it? It's adding -3, right? -3, 2. If I flip it over here, how the horizontal distance is the same, but now but the distance away from the x-axis is going to remain the same. So that's a 3, -2. So hopefully you can kind of see like those relationships with the flipping. The dilations is much more difficult. That's going to get into your ratios. But again, what you're going to want to do with the dilations is, again, when you're dealing with there's a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, right? What you're going to do is you're going to want to find that distance away from the origin. And that's going to help you when you're dealing with points from the dilation, is you're going to want to be able to find like the distance away from the origin. That's going to help you with the dilations. And the last thing is when you're dealing with rotations, kind of going back to the same thing with the point. So if I have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, right? 3, 2, yeah. So let's see if I can do this. Let's watch this. So watch this. So if I take this, right? Now watch what happens when I rotate this. Now that's going to be counterclockwise, right? Just think of a clock. Now what I want you to recognize here is that was the exact same point, or that was the exact same graph that just got rotated. But now look at what the coordinate point is of that, right? What this coordinate point now is now it's a -2, 3. So what happens when you rotate counterclockwise, what happens is the x and y coordinates flip and the x coordinate becomes negative. So it just kind of like, it's kind of one of those hard things to remember, right? But if you can remember how to kind of flip it and transform it, like I said, dilation is a little more confusing. I can't really I don't think give you a great explanation that's going to like click in 30 seconds for you. But hopefully kind of using those is something that can benefit for you on that. All right, let's go back into this one. So if the solid curve Q2 is 2 pi, that goes to 1/2. What does the dotted curve represent? That is, the dotted curve can be written in the form this. What are A, F, and phi? Okay, so phi is going to be 0 because I'm not seeing any transformations, right? The A is going to be 2, right? Because there's no shift up or down. So that's going to be that's going to be your amplitude, is how high and how low the graph is going to go. We don't know what T is as far as that's going to be shifting the graph, but we know that whatever the period got cut in half, right? You can see the dashed line is that period repeats twice as fast as the solid curve. So my F here is going to be a 1/2, right? Because you can see what happened is the period got divided by 2. So that's basically multiplying by 1/2, same thing as divided by 2. The intersection point. I'm not sure what the student, I actually looked at this one because I was like, I kind of was able to do the answer in my head. But you could graph, so I'm assuming that when they say intersection points, they were referring to, I'm assuming when they're talking intersection point, they're talking to x-axis, because I don't see that these graphs, unless I made a mistake and somebody wants to show me where I made a mistake, I'm not seeing that these graphs intersect more than 1 point. Because why do I keep on doing that? If I factor out an x, I'm going to be left with an x minus 1, right? So that has an x-intercept at 1 and 0. And then this graph is going down 1, and so the graph looks like that. And then this one graph would look like that. So, I mean, the only 2 points where I see that they'd only see the intersecting once, but I only see them intersecting at the only answer that has this would be E. So I'm assuming that's the intersection points of the x-axis. Express cosine of Q as a fraction in simplest terms. So you got to remember, whenever you're 90-degree angle, whatever's directly across from that is what we call our hypotenuse, right? Whatever's in between the 90-degree, and so our angle here is Q. Okay, so this is our reference angle. Okay, so it's very important when doing trig that you have this kind of angle. This is everything what is referred to. So what is between your 90-degree and your angle is what we call our adjacent side. And what is directly across from that is what we call our opposite side. So now it just comes in to make sure you know your trigonometric functions. So the cosine of an angle is going to be your adjacent over your hypotenuse. I'll just go through them all. The sine of your angle is going to be the opposite over the hypotenuse. And the tangent of your angle is going to be opposite over adjacent. Okay, so in this case, we see that we have our adjacent side, which we don't know, right? So you could recognize this to be a Pythagorean triple, or if you don't recognize it to be a Pythagorean triple, you could always use the Pythagorean theorem to figure it out. So let's just call it x, because let's pretend we don't know what it is. So x squared plus 5 squared equals a 13 squared. So x squared plus 25 equals a 169. Subtract 25, subtract 25. X squared equals a 144. So x equals a 12. So therefore, this is going to be 12 over 13, and that is your ratio. All right. So this one says, and oh, it's 10 o'clock. I'll get to these in just a second. Let's go ahead and do the giveaways for some free tutoring. If you did not do already the free tutoring, guys, then please go ahead and go over to my last 2 live streams and then go ahead and type in #mathhelp. I'll get to those 2 questions in just a second. But we got some free tutoring we got to get done with right now. So, where is my thing? There she goes. All right, so I am actually going to go in my description and take the first link. Let's do 2 weeks ago. My live stream, I think that's like, are you like learning math all by yourself? So what I'll do is I'll take that one from there. And sorry guys, if you posted your questions, I'm not going to get to it tonight. Go ahead and head over to Discord or wait for me next week and I'll go over those questions. Come on. All right, so we're going to do week number 108. So again, the link is in the description. I usually don't do this, but since last week I had an issue, I'll let you guys get away with it. So, all right. Let's see here. Oh, it's not showing up? Come on. Not that. I'll show you guys that. Okay. So let me do it this way. How to get off mobile distraction? That's a great question. Come on, what's up? Secondary. There we go. Why not going up? Oh, primary to start. There we go. Okay. All right. This is week number 108 live stream. And you had to go ahead and type in #mathhelp. Ooh, only 8 comments. Only 8 comments. You had to battle on for getting some free tutoring. Let's see who we got. Christy, congratulations, Christy. You are the winner for this week. Or you're a winner for 2 weeks ago. So congratulations. You have some free tutoring that we'll definitely connect. So obviously I know you on Discord. So feel free just to reach out to me and I will get you all connected. So congratulations on that. And so now let's go and do last week's last week giveaway, because I was for some reason, like my Google was asking me to like confirm my ad or confirm my thing and stuff like that. So we were so I don't know why I couldn't do it from last week, but so we're going to do last week's live stream. So if you are not Christy and you would like to go ahead and enter yourself for the next drawing, then all you simply need to do is go to last week's live stream, which I can't remember the name of it, but you can just go to my channel. And last Sunday we did it, and go ahead and type in #mathhelp, as you can see Christy did, and you'll be all set to go. But why is my computer computer. I got to. I think I've just been making some of these videos just going crazy. Actually, I haven't. No. I did delete that. Okay. Well, I guess I'll just go from there. I'm so upset. All right. Does not like me at all. Sorry. All right. Well, maybe I'll just get into the next question. All right. No, I don't want to do that. I want to wait till my next question. Let's do this next one again. Just want you to behave, computer. Let's go. You gotta be kidding me. Well, thank you very much, Twitter. I greatly appreciate that. And congrats, Kirsty. I think that's awesome. Congratulations. What time is it where are you live right now? It is 10:05 right now for me on Sunday, which is pretty late. Yes, that is just the only time I can do live because my kids don't go to bed on the time they're supposed to, or I mean, they just, you know, I have to do live when they are sleeping. So unfortunately, that's just when I go live. All right, so now I got last week's stream in the link, or it'll just reset. So that's cool. Best of luck, Thomas. I'm just going back through the chats because my computer just keeps on like resetting from on there. So we'll go from there. Well, you're very welcome, Christopher. You're very welcome, Zandy. Not a question, but thank you. You're great fits. You are very welcome, Zach. Olivia. Oh, you already got to that. On this one, Mo, it is, I don't know. This Mo, I think it's like maybe an 8. I got it. Like I said, once I first bought it, I knew I was needing to mess it up, and then it's just been, it's really low, and it's just gotten worse. Yeah, only got 8 gigabytes, and for what I'm doing with what I'm running on this, and from there, it worked out. It was working pretty fine when I was first using it, but yeah, I definitely need to build that up now. It's really pushing it hard now. All right. Come on. Open this stupid thing up. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. It's making me do that badge thing again. What the heck? All right, guys. The same thing that's happened last week is doing that again this week. So I don't know why that's the case. So I apologize for that. Oh, God, so annoying. All right, so I guess I'll just finish off these last 2 math questions. That's so annoying. I was trying to avoid that. I'll finish off these last 2 math questions and we're going. Yeah, it's like making me verify my identity again. I don't know why that's starting. That's so stupid. Let me just try one more time, see if I can go in through the main site. I'll just try this one more time because I don't want to do 2 giveaways again this time. I've already spent so much time trying to do the 2 giveaways. So let's see if I can, if it'll let me, oh, why did I do that? If it'll let me in from on there. I'll try it one more time for you guys. Come on, just let me go to my, or if anybody wants to maybe post the link from last week of my channel or of my live stream, feel free to go ahead and do that. It's letting me sign into my account. I'm like, so weird. Yeah, I do have 2-step enable, but it's, I'm just trying to go to my, I don't know why it keeps on kicking me, like why it's recognizing that like I need to verify again, like for 2 times in a row. That's just, I mean, I know sometimes it'll do it like randomly, which is fine last week, but then it's making me do this again this week. I'm not doing anything crazy. Oh, I see mode again. You wouldn't be able to stream right now. Oh yeah, no, I'm true. Pushing this thing. All right, let's get to the. I mean, it's not really the. I mean, it's my internet. Like I have, you know, fast internet from there. It's the, and it's usually never been a problem. Running Ecamm, the YouTube, the Google with that, and then the Notability app. But I mean, I try to keep everything pretty slimmed down on this computer. But yeah, I'm pretty sure my memory is probably being completely tapped. All right. But I think now whatever has been done. So stupid. I hate this. Right when I get it's so right when I'm already in the back end, and then right when I just want to get to my channel, it does that. All right, thanks, Mo. I see your question. See it in there. I can't. Can I see? Can I take your question? So stupid. I hate this. And I can't copy your paster like. Oh man, it doesn't matter. I can't post it. I can't copy it from on there. It's so annoying. Okay. All right. Let me try this one last time. Let me try it this way. Let me just go to my channel rather than like, even though I'm signed in, I just won't go. I'll just go to my channel version and then see if I'll find my live stream from my videos. Because I don't have my live streams. Yeah, because it was I Hate Math, right? Yep, there you go. All right, got it. Let's see if this works. Stupid. All right, keyword filter. Math help. Ooh, only 7 comments. All right. Here we go. We got it. Are you guys ready? I'm sick of you, so I'm just going to close you down. Let's go. And Nick Jones, congratulations. You are the winner from last week, or this week, actually. This is this week, so that was last week's thing. So congratulations. Nick, go ahead and reach out to me either on Instagram or on Discord, and I will get you all hooked up with your tutoring. All right, so that took way longer than I was supposed to, so I'm going to finish off these 2 math questions. I do apologize, guys, that I was not able to get to your questions, but again, or at least get to any more questions. But again, if you guys do have questions that you want me to go ahead and get to for like next week, then go ahead and check them out there. Also, if I didn't get to your question, you're like, hey, I need urgent help, then go ahead and check out the Discord, post some questions, communicate, check out what the other students are doing on over there. And then also just a reminder, if you also have questions, but you're in Algebra 2, you can also go ahead and check out my live stream that I have going on this week. All right, let's go ahead and finish off these last 2 problems. Whoa. So simplify 2, I think that's cube root. 2 cube root of r to the 5th divided by r to the 7th. All right, a couple different things we could do here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break up the radical into the numerator as well as into the denominator. So 2s squared t. All right, so it's really important to understand this. The square root of x squared is equal to x. The cube root of x cubed is equal to x. The nth root of x to the n is equal to x. So whatever we want the index to be the same as the power, right? So you can see here, none of these are being raised to the third power. So what I want to be able to do is I want to multiply them so they are going to be raised to the third power. Now, again, remember radicals, like if I have x to the n times x to the y, as long as they're both square roots, you can just multiply them. So that's going to be the square root of xy, right? So what I'm going to multiply here by is definitely has to be the cube root. Now, again, I don't want to multiply by 2. I want this to be a 2 cubed. So I'm going to multiply this by 2 squared, right? Because 2 times 2 squared would be 2 cubed. Here, I'll just do this an s to the first power. And then here, it's going to be a t squared. Now, again, remember, whatever you do in the denominator, you also have to do in the numerator. So I'm going to multiply that in the denominator, and then I'll multiply that up top as well. So that would be the cube root of a 2 squared times s t squared, right? Because again, if I had 1/2, if I multiply by 4 in the denominator, I have to multiply by 4 in the numerator as well, right? So that looks really bad. So that's a 4/8. Okay, so now let's go ahead and simplify. So we got 2, so this is the cube root of, let's see, that's going to just be a 4 r to the 5th s t squared. And then down here would be a cube root. And this is going to be a 2 squared. So this would be 4. So that'd be 8. Oh, actually, whatever. I know I can simplify that. So that's going to be 8. This would be a s cubed. And this would be a t cubed. Okay. And obviously, we can take the simplified root of all these. So cube root of 8 is going to be 2. And so let's just simplify this. So 2 cube root of 4 r to the 5th st squared all over a 2 st. Well, the 2's will divide out, and therefore we can get a final answer here of cube root of 4 r to the 5th st squared all over an st. And you can't divide out those two because those are under radical, these are not. All right, so for the quadratic function defined, write the function in quadratic, or in vertex form, and then give the vertex of the parabola, and then graph the function. All right, so to see this is in vertex form, this is what we call in standard form. So to do that, the best thing I would recommend doing is just using what we call completing the square. And to do that, we have this in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, so all we're going to do is going to take b divided by 2 squared. So I'm not going to get very detailed in this one. I'm just going to kind of go through it. So in this case, we have a -6 divided by 2 squared, which equals a 9. Okay, so we have x squared minus 6x. What you're going to do is you're going to take that 9, you're going to add it to your first two terms, and then minus 2. Now, remember, you just can't like randomly add a 9, right? If you're going to add a 9, then either you add 9 on both sides, or you can add and subtract a 9 on the same side. So now what you created by adding this 9 inside with these first two terms, you created what we call a perfect square trinomial, which can be factored down into a binomial squared. So that's x minus 3, quantity squared. -2 minus 9 is a -11. And that is going to be in your vertex form. So the vertex is going to be 3, -11. And with the way that I would graph that, since there's no real transformations, is just go to 1, 2, 3, -11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And there you go. Voila. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in with me tonight. I look forward to seeing you guys next week, but I gotta go. Cheers.